Hi, I'm Dawn Burnett, and this is my son Mason, and I want to thank you for joining us today for Talk to Me at the request of the Huffington Post. So my son Mason here, who is 11 years old, has some questions he would like to ask me. So what would you like to ask me? What's on your mind?
So, tell me something you've never told me before.
Okay. I don't think we've ever talked about this before. So, when I was 17 years old, because I'm from a broken home and a poor family, we didn't have a lot of money. We all five of us kids had to buy our own car. So I was working as a waitress and a couple other side jobs while going to high school and taking care of my brother. And one of my first cars was a 1972 Ford Torino.
Wow.
Guess how much it cost?
What?
$750.
That's a lot to me.
It's a lot to you because you probably don't have that much that you're aware of. But as far as today, $750 doesn't go as far as it did then. But back then, yes, $750 was a lot of money. Now, the car was a green color, a little darker shade than Kermit the Frog. So I know you like green,
yes,
but it was kind of a muddy green. So I don't think if you saw it today, you'd be too like, yes.
Yeah, because I like a neon type green.
Exactly. It definitely wasn't neon. So my dad and I got together and we put it in his shop and we resurfaced, sanded everything down and repainted it. Guess what color?
What?
Pepto-Bismol pink with white trim.
Wow, is that like the light pink?
No, Pepto-Bismol. It's hard to explain. I know we don't
like
take a lot of over-the-counter medicine, but yeah, yeah, if you saw it, you'd totally understand what color.
Exactly.
And I wanted to be known as Pinky, so I went out and dyed my hair pink, and I had a tail, you know what a little tail is hanging in the back, and I got some pink fur, and I made pink fur seat covers. And there you go. I was known as Pinky.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
what else
cool
do you want to ask?
What do you know now that you wish you knew when you were my age?
Wow. What I wish I would have known back then, and when I was your age, was to dream big. We really, again, because we didn't have a lot of guidance, because we were from a broken home, we weren't really encouraged to think big. But the truth is, whatever a man thinketh, therefore he is what they say. So in other words, whatever the mind believes, it can achieve. So really set your sights high on what it is you want to be. There is no limit in life. Now it's going to require a lot of hard work.
Definitely.
But if you go out there and you do your very best to make it happen and you don't quit, that's the key, then eventually you can be whatever you want to become.
So my next question is, tell me the happiest time in your life.
You already know this one.
Of course.
So, as you're aware, your sister's turning 21. Oh, yeah, I can't believe it. But anyways, back then, I was told that I couldn't have any more children, and I really wanted another child. And the fertility specialist, which is doctors that can help you have another child, told me that there was no hope and they couldn't help me. So a lot of people in the church got together and they had prayed over me and everything, and I pretty much gave up. I didn't think it was ever going to be possible to have a kid. And your dad and I and your sister took a trip to Hilton Head, and I did a work trip back to back with that to Las Vegas.
How?
I got really sick with bronchial asthma, but it ended up being a blessing. Do you know why?
Why?
I was scheduled to have kidney surgery when I came back. Well, because I got sick, it postponed the surgery, and the very day I was supposed to have surgery, that's when I found out I was pregnant with you. Yeah.
That's a surprise.
It was a surprise, but it was a very good surprise.
Good.
Yes, very good.
My next question is, what is the hardest challenge you've ever faced?
Okay, well, you've lived through it with me, and the hardest challenge I've ever faced, Mason, is 7 years ago, I left your dad, and you may remember, I know you were little, but it was a very toxic relationship. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Things you remember?
I do remember a little bit of time of you guys fighting.
Yeah, so It got really bad at the end, and your sister had to live through a lot of that. And I just made a decision that I was not going to let another child be influenced in that environment. So I gained my courage. I left your dad, and it's been the best 7 years of my life. How about you?
Definitely.
Yes. So it was for sure worth it.
Of course.
What else?
My next question is, what is the biggest lesson you would like to pass on to future generations?
Wow. Well, you know that I'm a wellness strategist. So the biggest lesson I'd like to pass on to other generations would be what you eat really matters. Cancer today seems to have become an epidemic, and a lot of other diseases, and a lot of people think that they're immortal and they're not going to get sick.
Exactly.
So they kind of don't worry about it until it's too late. So what you put in your mouth really does matter. Eat with awareness, pay attention to how you live your life, take care of yourself, because if you don't have good health, you don't have anything.
Because people think that soda can be a fountain of youth, which can also lead to diabetes.
It's not the fountain of youth.
No.
No, that's
They
a
think
misconception.
I know, they think it is because it's sweet and stuff.
Yeah, that leads to a whole host of health problems. So what else?
My next question is, what are some of the little things you did for yourself and our family that made the biggest impact?
Okay, well that's an easy one, because when you were 2 years old, you had an overcompromised immune system due to vaccinations, which pushed you into 5 rounds of antibiotics, and you became very sick with celiac disease. And the doctors weren't really able to help out a whole lot. So I had found an ad for Get Your Degree in Alternative Medicine, and I dropped everything I had known from a very young adult age. My first degree was travel, so I had worked in that many years. Gave it all up, went back to college in hopes to, my health was a train wreck, so I hope my health, your sister's health, and save your life. And so glad I did, because you're turning 12 and you're very healthy. You're going to carry on with that health?
Definitely.
Good.
You by my side.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here until it's my turn to go, but I will keep enforcing that good choice for health in you.
Exactly.
For sure.
So my next question is, if you could have one wish for me, what would it be?
Wow, okay. If I could have one wish for you, my biggest wish for you is that you financially don't have to struggle. So the biggest advice that I would give to you is to, again, live your life in full awareness.
Definitely.
Pay attention to how you spend your money. Really think things through.
Because sometimes I'm not really doing that now.
Right, but you know from the last car crash we had and us both nearly dying, that it's really each other's lives that matter, right? Rather than a whole bunch of stuff. So I think you've had a really good foundation to know how to spend your money, and so as long as you make wise choices, you should never have to struggle.
Definitely.
What else?
So my very last question, but not least, is
okay. Is what?
if you had to choose a role model for me, what would it be and why?
Okay, a role model. Let's see. Well, if I had to choose a role model for you, you don't know this person. You didn't ever meet your mama. She had passed away. That's your great grandma.
Before I was born.
Before you were born. But she was a very powerful impact and inspiration in our family.
She must have been, because apparently her happiness continued to you.
She was a very happy person. She smiled everywhere she went. She would light up a room. But what was really cool that I can say about my grandma is she did not die with one enemy. She always went about life everywhere she went, and she exuded love. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Just remember that everybody has a story. Their life matters like yours does. So always operate from a place of hearts. She would be your role model. Mama would.
Because of your saying, and the only way to touch the heart is by touch
the sky. Exactly. So was that your last question, or?
Yes. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I also want you to think about these questions, and also, if I forget, I also want you to tell me again so I can live on. and tell my future generations that's true.
Well, I've got a better idea. How about if we save this video, and this is something you can always reflect back on. Just always operate from a place of heart. And guess what? I love you.
I love you too.